I grew up abroad, and my mother, afraid I might bring back a foreign son-in-law, directly arranged for me to have a talented and handsome fiancé in Jing City, asking me to return for the engagement. I went to a luxury store to choose an engagement dress. I spotted a milky white off-the-shoulder gown and was about to try it on. A woman beside me glanced at the dress in my hand and said to the sales assistant, "That dress has a pretty unique style. Bring it here for me to try." The assistant immediately and rudely snatched the dress from my hand. Indignant, I protested, "There's a thing called first come, first served. I saw this dress first. Do you people have no sense of fairness?" But she looked at me disdainfully and said, "This dress costs 188,000. Can a poor thing like you even afford it?" I am Gu Wenyu, the president of Gu Corporation's adopted sister. In Jing City, the word fairness is whatever the Gu family says it is. What a coincidence. Isn't Gu Wenyu the man I'm engaged to? I immediately called Gu Wenyu. "Your adopted sister just snatched the dress I was going to wear for our engagement. How do you want to handle this?" The term adopted sister always sounded a bit shady to me. If Gu Wenyu couldn't give me a reasonable explanation today, then our engagement banquet was definitely off. But to my surprise, Gu Wenyu's voice was cold as he asked, "Who are you? Since when does my relationship with Euro need commentary from an outsider like you?" I was about to say I was his fiancé, but Gu Wenyu hung up on me. I was furious. Good old Gu Wenyu, he hadn't even saved my contact information. Meanwhile, Euro was laughing smugly. "Bitch. You think just because you got Wenwu Ji's number, you can claim some connection to him? What a fantasy." Her eyes swept over me contemptuously. "Even the cleaners at Gu Corporation dress better than you. I usually dress for comfort and simplicity, not really caring about the value of my clothes. I never thought that would one day become ammunition for someone to attack me. What era are we living in, still judging people by their clothes? Gu Wenyu must be blind to acknowledge you as his adopted sister. After her interference, I'd lost all interest in trying on dresses. I simply took the dress to the cashier to pay. The saleswoman hesitated, looking at me. "Miss, our store generally prioritizes member clients." Euro's smile grew even more smug. She pulled a gleaming gold membership card from her bag and slapped it on the counter. "This membership requires a 1 million top-up. What are you, some poor bitch, trying to play pretend here?" I'm not usually one to get into confrontations, but today Euro had truly ignited my anger. I pulled out a black card and handed it to the saleswoman, trying to steady my emotions. "Sign me up for membership, then wrap up the dress." Euro the saleswoman, Jing City is the Gu family's territory. If you dare sell that dress to her today, tomorrow I'll have Wenwu Gu buy out this store. The saleswoman cowered. "Miss, I'm just an employee. I really can't afford to offend the Gu Corporation." Several people nearby looked at me and whispered advice. "I've seen this Miss He around a few times. The Gu CEO really does dote on her. You should just let it go. Last time, someone offended her and their company was driven to bankruptcy by the Gu Group. Even if you have some money, it's nothing compared to the vast Gu Corporation. You'd better apologize to Miss He now and beg her to let you off." Listening to the crowd's flattery, Euro looked like she was about to get a swelled head. "Bitch, you kneel down right now, shout 'I'm a pretentious bitch and I was wrong' 3 times, and maybe I'll consider letting you off." In 26 years of life, this was the first time I'd seen anyone act so arrogantly in front of me. "Say that again. What am I supposed to shout? Are you deaf? I'm a pretentious bitch and I was wrong, can't you hear that?" A smile tugged at my lips. "I heard you loud and clear. Since you know you're a pretentious bitch, get the hell out of my way and stop annoying me." Euro instantly realized she'd been mocked. She charged at me, arms swinging. How laughable. I'm a black belt in Taekwondo. Was I afraid of her flimsy punches? I kicked out sideways, and he crumpled to the ground, shrieking. People around gasped, looking at me with horror. My God! How dare she treat Miss He like that? When Mr. Gu finds out, he'll chop her into 8 pieces for sure. Now not even the gods themselves can save her. Listening to their whispers, I felt nothing. The Gu family owed its current status entirely to my mother's support. There really wasn't anyone in Jing City I needed to fear. I slapped the card on the counter again and told the saleswoman, ring it up. The saleswoman, trembling as if frightened, swiped my card and wrapped the dress. I picked up the dress and turned to leave. But he scrambled up and blocked my way again. You're not going anywhere. I raised my hand and waved it in her face. What? Want another taste of my fist? He flinched instinctively. I snorted and walked out. Just then, a black Maybach pulled up at the store entrance. The first thing that hit the ground was a foot in thin-soled leather shoes. Oh, the feeling of salvation upon seeing those thin-soled shoes. My eyes traveled up from the foot, and my heart started racing. He was at least 1.9 meters tall, broad shoulders, long legs, and his face, absolutely stunning. Chiseled features, perfect from every angle. He immediately ran over, crying and tattling. Wenwu Gu. She stole the dress I wanted and hit me. So, this was my fiancé. I'm a total sucker for good looks, and Gu Wenyu's appearance was absolutely my type. With a face like that, I figured I could forgive his earlier rudeness. I flashed what I thought was my most charming smile. Hi, I'm Chen Wanwan, your fiancé. No wonder Mom said I'd definitely be satisfied with the fiancé she'd found this time. She really knows me inside out. The onlookers gasped. What? She's Mr. Gu's fiancé. Between a fiancé and an adopted sister, the fiancé is definitely more important. No wonder she was so bold. Not necessarily. It depends on who Mr. Gu favors more, right? Gu Wenyu's eyes landed on me, his tone unfriendly. Don't flatter yourself. This match was something my father forced on me. I never agreed. He hooked her arm through his, leaning intimately on his shoulder, her eyes full of. With an ugly face like yours, why would Wenwu Gu ever marry you? Someone chimed in, exactly. If Mr. Gu marries anyone, it'll be a wealthy heiress from a family of equal standing. Why would he marry this country bumpkin? She couldn't even get a job cleaning toilets at the Gu Corporation. I know I'm not a stunning beauty, but I'm definitely not ugly. How did I become so despicable in their eyes? It's true, human nature is to suck up to the powerful and kick those who are down. Gu Wenyu, go tell your father that your grandma here, am calling off this engagement. You're not good enough for me. From what my mother said, his father had worked hard to arrange this marriage alliance with my family. If he found out his son had ruined it, there'd definitely be hell to pay. Thinking that cheered me up a bit. I couldn't be bothered arguing with these idiots anymore and turned to leave. But he emboldened by having backup, stubbornly blocked my path again. Bitch, don't think you can run. You stole my dress and hit me. I'm not done with you yet. I looked at her dismissively. How do you want to settle this? Thinking I was scared, she raised her hand to slap me. By beating you until I'm satisfied, of course. I caught her wrist with one hand and slapped her cleanly across the face with the other. She stared at me in disbelief, then shrieked, bitch. How dare you hit? I slapped her again on the backhand, asking coldly, satisfied yet? Those 2 slashes extinguished Hiro's arrogance. Tearfully, she hid behind Gu Wenyu. Wenwu Gu, you have to stand up for me. Gu Wenyu, looking pained, shielded her. Daring to touch my people, you've got a death wish. He gestured to the bodyguards behind him to seize me. I struck first, taking one down. But I could handle one, not two. After a few hits, I collapsed in pain. Two bodyguards hoisted me up and dragged me before them. Gu Wenyu back to Euro up. Xiaoro, you can do whatever you want to her today. I'll handle any consequences. Emboldened, he Euro slapped me twice, then spat in my face. Bitch! Weren't you just so arrogant? Try being tough now. With that, she kicked me in the stomach. Clutching my agonizing abdomen, I looked up at her and Gu Wenyu. You'll pay for treating me like this. I won't let this slide. He Euro laughed cruelly. The Gu family is one of the top 3 conglomerates in Jing City. What can a poor thing like you do against me? Today, I'm going to teach you the price of crossing me. She pulled a nail clipper from her bag and viciously scratched my face. A sharp pain seared my cheek. The skin swelled, blood beading on the surface. Someone lamented. I told her not to offend the Gu family, but she wouldn't listen. Now she's paying the price. Such a pretty face, ruined like this. Such a shame. As ordinary folks, when we're out and about, we just have to swallow our pride sometimes. He Euro raised the nail clipper to my face again. The terror of being disfigured filled me. I quickly begged for mercy. I'm sorry. The dress is yours. I shouldn't have fought you for it. A gentleman can bide his time. The priority now was saving my face. But he Euro slashed again. Bitch. You're sorry now. Too late. Until I've vented my anger, don't even think I'll let you go. I screamed and looked desperately at Gu Wenyu. Gu Wenyu. Aren't you afraid of who I am? Letting her humiliate me like this, you'll regret it. Gu Wenyu sneered. Who are you? Just the daughter of some scheming woman who bewitched my father, making him force this engagement on me. A flicker of venom crossed Hiro's eyes. Your mother's a fox, so you must be a little fox. Today I'll strip you naked and air out your stench. No. Just then, my phone rang in my bag. I struggled wildly to reach it, but Hiro grabbed it first. She swiped to answer, and my mother's voice came through. Wanwan, how's the dress selection going? I immediately screamed for help. Mom, come save me. I've been attacked. She's going to strip me. My mother panicked. What? Who did this? Hiro arrogantly replied, It's your granny. You're an old fox raising a little fox who's all over the place. Of course I need to fix her. My mother was frantic. I don't care who you are. Release my daughter now, or else when I get there, you'll be in trouble. If you've got the guts, come on over. Granny's right here waiting. I'll skin that fox of yours too. With a loud crack, she hung up and smashed my phone to pieces. Hiro slapped me again. You and your mother are both the same kind of pretentious trash. When your mom gets here, I'll strip her too. Time dragged on. Only 5 minutes had passed, but it felt like an eternity. Finally, a familiar stretched Lincoln came into view. My mother pushed the door open and stepped out. Let's see who dares to talk about skinning me. The moment I saw her, a wave of washed over me. I choked out, Mom. She rushed over, heartbroken, and pulled me into her arms. Leaning against her, I finally felt safe. Seeing my mother's car, the onlookers gasped. Look! That stretched Lincoln she's in, it's a... Whoever owns that car is either incredibly wealthy or powerful. Looks like Hiro picked the wrong target this time. So what if she's powerful? Can she be more powerful than the Gu family? Hiro, thinking the same, brazenly strutted over to my mother. So you're the old fox. Your clueless daughter dared to steal the dress I wanted and attacked me. How do you propose we settle this? My mother looked at her. What do you propose? Oblivious to my mother's murderous glare, he shamelessly listed her demands. I saw that dress first. Your daughter touched it, so it's dirty. You must compensate me 10 times its price. For the 2 slaps she gave me, I want her to kneel and kowtow 20 times, and slap herself 20 times. And most importantly, the engagement between this bitch and Wenwu must be cancelled. She spoke as if granting us a favor. If you do all that, I might be lenient and let you off this once. Otherwise, don't even think about leaving this store. Hearing her preposterous demands, even my mother was amused despite her anger. She patted my shoulder reassuringly, then walked steadily towards Hiyuro. Wanwan's engagement to the Gu family will definitely be cancelled, because Gu Wenyu isn't fit to be my son-in-law. As for the other demands, my mother raised her hand and slapped Hiyuro hard across the face. Don't even dream about them. The ones who won't leave here today are you. Hiyuro was stunned for a second, then tried to fight back. One of my mother's bodyguards kicked her to her knees, pinning her arms like iron clamps. Hiyuro struggled, then looked pleadingly at Gu Wenyu. It hurts. Wenwu, help me. Gu Wenyu signaled his bodyguards, but they were quickly overpowered by my mother's. Both he and Hiyuro were forced to kneel before me. My mother didn't hesitate to slap Gu Wenyu either. I've never even laid a finger on Wanwan since she was little. Today you dared to humiliate her like this. You'll pay back 10-fold, 100-fold. Gu Wenyu protested defiantly. I'm the president of Gu Corporation. How dare you, an old woman, hit me? Do you know the consequences? After what you did to my daughter, consequences be damned. Even if your father were here, I'd still hit him. The onlookers were even more astonished. Who is this woman? How can she be so arrogant? Old Mr. Gu was in the underworld when he was young. Later he reformed and founded the Gu Corporation. Everyone in Jing City shows him respect. She's hit his most beloved son. There's no way she'll get out of this easily. My mother couldn't care less about their concerns. She gently touched my swollen, bloody cheek, her eyes full of pain. Wanwan, you've suffered. Mom's here now. Don't be afraid. You can take any revenge you want. I've never been one to return good for evil. After what Hiyuro did to me, I wasn't about to let her off. I fixed my gaze on her. First, I slapped her repeatedly to vent my anger. Then, I picked up the nail clipper she'd used on me and slowly brought it close to her face. Hiyuro trembled violently. If you dare touch my face, I'll fight you to the death. I made a clean, swift cut. She let out a blood-curdling scream. A bloody welt immediately rose on one side of her face. I cut again and again. Soon her face was a swollen, unrecognizable mess. Pinned by the bodyguards, she could do nothing but wail helplessly. My face. My face is ruined. Indeed, you only know pain when the wound is on your own body. When she was trying to disfigure me, she should have considered this might one day happen to her. Gu Wenyu cursed at me. You venomous. Doing this to Hiyuro. When my father finds out, you'll be finished. My mother said coldly, fine. Let's see if Gu Xingcheng, when he gets here, finishes us or finishes you. She immediately called Gu Xingcheng. He answered instantly. Hello. Sister-in-law, what's the matter? My mother's voice was displeased. Gu Xingcheng, you've raised quite a son. Sensing her tone, Gu Xingcheng forced a smile. Sister-in-law, has my useless son done something wrong? Just tell me, and I'll punish him severely. I only have one daughter, Wan Wan. I've cherished her like the apple of my eye, as you know. Yes, yes, of course. Please rest assured, once Miss Wan Wan marries into our Gu family, I will never let her suffer the slightest grievance. My mother's voice was barely containing her fury. But today, your son has already subjected Wan Wan to immense humiliation. For the sake of his so-called adopted sister, Gu Wenyu had her seized and allowed her to be beaten and abused. How should I settle this score with you? Gu Xingchang's voice was incredulous. What? That dared to harm Miss Wan Wan. He deserves to die. Do with him as you please. Hearing his father's groveling tone, Gu Wenyu shouted, Dad. You've truly been bewitched by that fox. This are venomous. They've ruined Yuro's face and forced me to my knees. Instead of saving me, you tell them to do as they please. Am I even your son? Gu Xingchang roared furiously, You've caused such a disaster. I almost wish I'd never fathered you. Gu Wenyu started to retort. My mother hung up and looked at him contemptuously. Now do you know who Gu Xingchang won't forgive? You scheming widow. Don't be so pleased. My dad's just putting on a front. I'm his own son. He'll come for me, and then it'll be your turn. Ever since I could remember, my father's death was my mother's taboo. No one dared mention it. This Gu Wenyu was really asking for it, walking right into the line of fire. Sure enough, my mother's expression changed, a killing intent flashing in her eyes as she looked at him. I preemptively kicked Gu Wenyu in the back, sending him sprawling. Mom, getting angry over this idiot isn't worth it. Leave him to me. I know how to deal with them. I ordered the bodyguards to take them away. Then I snuggled up to my mother, coaxing, Mom, my face hurts so much. Take me to get it treated, okay? That finally snapped her back to reality. She gently touched my wounds and accompanied me to the hospital. The city's top dermatologists and plastic surgeons gathered, cleaned my wounds, and discussed treatment plans to ensure no scarring. Once the plan was set and everyone left, only my mother and I remained in the room. I leaned my head on her shoulder. Mom, don't let that idiot Gu Wenyu's words bother you. Her voice was thick with guilt and regret. Wan Wan, your father did die for me. Do you hate me? For making you grow up without a father. I shook my head and hugged her tight. I knew these years had been hardest on her. My father was once in the underworld, with countless underlings, including Gu Xingchang. Then he met my mother. They fell in love at first sight. The playboy who lived for fighting and fun settled down, loving only her. But that also made him vulnerable. His enemies targeted my mother repeatedly. He ultimately gave his life protecting her. I was less than a year old. The old-timers who followed my mother said she would have joined him then, if not for me. For my sake, she forced herself out of grief. She disbanded my father's gang, picked those with business sense, and invested in their ventures. She also knew that a tall tree catches the wind. To avoid making me a target, she stayed, never showing her face publicly. It's no exaggeration to say the three major conglomerates in Jing City were all backed by my mother. Very few knew this. Which is why idiots like Gu Wenyu had no clue who she was and could spout such nonsense. A week later, my face was healed, my skin even fairer and smoother than before. The household staff brought today's gift from Gu Xingchang, a century-old wild ginseng, incredibly rare. Clearly, Gu Xingchang was desperate to save his son. A week had passed since I'd locked up Gu Wenyu and Hiyuro. Time to see them. I had the staff inform Gu Xingchang, then ordered the bodyguards to bring them up from the basement. 7 days had transformed them. Disheveled, stinking, they were barely recognizable. Hiyuro's facial wounds, untreated, were infected and swollen. Her face was a hideous mess, disfigured. Seeing his father, Gu Wenyu burst into tears and crawled over. Dad! You finally came. You have no idea what I've been through. He pointed at me. Her. She locked me in a water dungeon, kept me from sleeping, fed me rotten food. I smiled. But even rotten food, Mr. Gu, you ate with relish, didn't you? Human adaptability is truly amazing. I had them fed only once a day, with spoiled, cold leftovers. At first, Gu Wenyu swore he'd starve before eating such filth. But after 3 days of hunger, survival trumped everything. They fought over that single meal of rotten leftovers, licking the bowl clean. Gu Wenyu glared at me, his face twisted. You venomous woman. My dad's here now. Your days are numbered. Sometimes I think heaven is fair. Give you one thing, take another. Clearly, heaven traded Gu Wenyu's intelligence for his looks. Before he could finish his threat, Gu Xingchang slapped him. You monster! Are you trying to kill me? Apologize to Miss Wanwan immediately. Gu Wenyu looked at his father, rebellious and aggrieved. Dad! Why should I apologize? She locked me up for a week, made my life hell. Instead of helping me, you side with her. Seeing his son still clueless, Gu Xingchang was at his wit's end. But bound by my mother's stipulation not to reveal my identity, he could only sigh and force Gu Wenyu to his knees with a kick to the back. Gu Xingchang's voice was cautious and ingratiating. Miss Wanwan, I know this monster has angered you. 10,000 deaths wouldn't be enough. But please, I beg you, for the sake of him being my only son, spare his life. Seeing his father so abject, Gu Wenyu finally grasped that my status was no joke. Dad, who is she? The Gu family is one of Jing City's top 3 conglomerates. Is there really anyone here we can't afford to offend? Gu Xingchang shot him a withering look. You little beast. I've always told you there are powers beyond your imagination. Be more discreet. But you never listen. Let me tell you, Miss Wanwan is exactly the kind of person we cannot afford to offend. Whether you live or die now depends on her say-so. Hearing this, Gu Wenyu's vengeful glare turned to terror. He could barely stammer. Miss Wanwan, I was blind and foolish before. I offended you. I apologize. Please forgive me. I sat, took a slow sip of my coffee, then looked at them. Uncle Gu, you're actually being a bit unfair to Gu Wenyu. It wasn't him who offended me. It was his adopted sister. He was just sticking up for her. Gu Xingchang slapped Gu Wenyu on the head again. You monster. Never learning anything good. Adopted sister. Get her out of my sight. He seeing the situation, realized Gu Wenyu couldn't save himself, let alone her. Remembering the water dungeon, she never wanted to experience that again. Her strength seemed to drain away. She collapsed to her knees, kowtowing frantically. Miss Chen. I was wrong. I'm the pretentious trash. Please, be magnanimous and spare me this once. Please, spare my miserable life. I'll never dare again. Her head hit the floor with loud thuds, soon drawing blood. Seeing this, Gu Wenyu finally bowed his arrogant head. Miss Wanwan, I was blind and hurt you. I'll never do it again. I won't bully others. Please, forgive me this time. I finished my coffee, set down the cup, and looked at them calmly. Listen to you all. You make me sound like a murderer. This is a society governed by law. Why would I do anything illegal? Gu Xingchang ventured hopefully, does Miss Wanwan mean she forgives this monster? I smiled. Of course. They did hurt me, but I've had my revenge. An eye for an eye makes the whole world blind. Let's put this behind us. They immediately kowtowed frantically again, thanking me. I cleared my throat. Not only will I forgive you, I'll also fulfill your wishes. 3 pairs of confused eyes looked at me. I made some inquiries. Hiyuro is actually Gu Wenyu's girlfriend. You just called each other adopted brother/sister because Uncle Gu here disapproved. So now, I'm making you 2 lovers a married couple. Leave here and go straight to the Civil Affairs Bureau to get your marriage license. Within 7 days, I want to see your wedding announcement in Jing City. My announcement brought mixed reactions. Hiyuro couldn't believe her luck. Her long-pursued dream of marrying into wealth was coming true. Joy bubbled up, spreading across her face. But on her now disfigured face, that smile was grotesque and terrifying. The unhappy one was, naturally, Gu Xingcheng. He had always despised Hiyuro's background and behavior. This whole disaster was partly her fault, making him resent her even more. I looked at the 3, each lost in their own thoughts. Well? Can you do it? They finally nodded. I smiled and waved. The car taking you to the Civil Affairs Bureau is waiting outside. They scrambled up and ran out, afraid I might change my mind. The filthy, stinking couple was dropped directly at the bureau entrance. The staff, suppressing their disgust, asked, "Sir, madam, how can I help you?" Gu Wenyu glanced at Hiyuro's pig-like face and felt a surge of revulsion. But Hiyuro, still euphoric about entering the Gu family, rushed to say, "We're here to get our marriage license." The staff had seen many odd couples, but this took the prize. Most people dressed their best for this. These 2 looked like refugees, and the man's scowl suggested he was anything but willing. Still, they did their job, issuing the license and taking probably the ugliest, most bizarre wedding photo in history. Learning from the driver that they'd succeeded, I felt a wicked glee. A glee that would last them a lifetime. A week later, their wedding sent the Gu family into a media frenzy. Jing City conglomerate Gu family bankrupt. Heir's wedding pathetically cheap. Why did Jing City's most handsome man marry a pig-faced woman? The untold story. They caused Gu Corporation's stock to plummet, having its assets and knocking it out of the top 3 conglomerates, with a little help from me, of course. Gu Xingcheng blamed Hiyuro for bringing bad luck, never once smiling at her since she entered the family. Gu Wenyu stayed away, drowning himself in nightlife, unable to face her ruined face. Initially, Hiyuro was thrilled to be Mrs. Gu. But soon, she realized no one, not even the servants, treated her like a real mistress. She had no say, received a pittance for living expenses. This wasn't the luxurious life she'd imagined. Frequent fights erupted over Gu Wenyu's affairs. The constant made her paranoid and unstable. After one final blow-up, she snapped, stabbing Gu Wenyu before killing herself. When I heard the news, I was vacationing abroad with my mother. Sunlight filtered through the leaves. It was another beautiful day.